I think if you had asked me this 15 years ago, I would have expressed my suspicion of words, which is a very important part of not just Taoism, but Zen Buddhism. And they are suspicious of words. The more words you have, the further from the truth you get. Don't tell this to lawyers or politicians, but I really believe it's true. So now, music cannot replace words, and words can definitely not replace music, because I think sometimes music expresses something which is beyond words. And when there's words with music, then the words change, and the words change the music as well. Because I also write words. I write all the lyrics to my songs. I wrote the libretto for my opera, and I think they all have their place. And also, I think many people say that music is the highest form of art. As a musician, I say, "Oh, thank you," but maybe it's not true, because if you look outside right now and you keep quiet, that is expressing something which is you cannot do any other way, right? So I believe music is very powerful, and it's a tool that can be used sometimes. The composer is quite what's the word? Manipulative. And yes, we have to do it. In the film, you will see there's some parts that it builds up and it pulls you. It is manipulative, but I think really good music is not just manipulative. It also opens your heart. And then the composer should then let your heart open, and you will find your own things. So I think that's music used very well. But no, we need words nowadays to tell people certain things, because we're fighting for attention all the time. The world is very, very different. Most people have attention spans of 7 minutes, 3 minutes, 12 minutes. So so the best music is the da 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 da, short phrases. So it's a tough one. I think the world nowadays needs instant catching. So I think the music and the words have to come together now. Sun Yu's film was very much of his time. It's very interesting. The film was made in 1933. One of the major battles which he depicted was a battle in 1932. He was right on top of his time. He made a film, and he incorporated into his film 1 year later, after the battle, the Chinese won some victory over the Japanese, because the Japanese had been invading and coming down. And 32 is mentioned in the movie, and he released the film in 33. So I think he did the film very much for his time. It's very nationalistic, because at that time China was a complete mess. China was the sick man of Asia. Japan looked down on China, and in Shanghai we had the French concession, the British concession, the American concession, the German concession, and the word concession is a euphemism. Basically, the foreigners came in and took over certain parts of the city because the Chinese were too weak. So many people, we don't think about it. So when we visit Shanghai, modern Shanghai, say, "Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, this is the French concession. Oh, okay." But the word concession is loaded with the political meaning. The Chinese had to give up the land to the foreigners who came because they had bigger guns. About the politics. I think the movie is interesting now because it talks about a China during a time when it was very weak. And I will talk about the first thing, which is unusual. It's about a toy maker. And then they showed factories, and she said, "You need to have factories, otherwise our children only play with foreign toys." So then we see the toy factories. And when we brought it to Shanghai in 2007, that was the year when all the problems with the lead and the various chemicals in the toys. And it was topical. or in Shanghai and around the world. And then the second thing is there is a lot of talk in the movie in the film about when will China be strong enough to stand up on its own, so that the foreigners don't come and just walk all over us. And it's 2010, and the time has come. The time is now. China is very soon going to be the second largest economy in the world. They have sent satellites up. Now they are they're leading in green energy. The leading industry in green energy, and they are the number 2 largest telecommunications in the world. So it's interesting. When I chose it, it was all happening, but the past 5 years we've seen an acceleration of China's this. So yeah, I think the movie it's a lesson for all of us, because 70 over years ago when this film was made, China was a mess. It was very bad. The country was a mess, the economy was a mess, there was civil war. Japan was coming to conquer, and for 100 years they had Britain pumping opium into the country to get more money. So yeah, it was a mess, and now it's become a world power. So I picked the film partly because I just thought, how often do you get a film in which history and present coincide like this? It was fascinating, and I'm on the outside. I'm Chinese, but I'm not from China. I'm from Singapore. So, yeah, I think the film is political, but it also has another side. It's a story of one woman, a very powerful, strong woman who couldn't beat life. And the two things are equal in the movie, which is what is also powerful. I've been doing music for over 30 years now. I've done pop music, and I've done a lot of music for theatre. I've done world music. I've been to WOMADs. I've released 7 albums, and then past 12 years I've been doing projects in which the music is the main thing. Two things. I think there is a similarity between me and the heroine of the movie. She didn't have much choice, and for me, in a way, I didn't have much choice. I had other intentions and plans when I was young, but they didn't work out, and always I kept coming back to creativity, to being an artist, and I chose music. And I think if you want to develop something, you have to keep doing it. And often I have thought I must stop. It's not working out, I'm not making a living, or it's too frustrating, it's this and that, and often I decided I should stop. But what I do is I find a different type of music to do. So yeah, I think, I'm not saying, I don't think that she inspires me, but the parallel was a subconscious one. When I first picked the show, I didn't see it. But now that I've been touring in it, now it's the 5th city I'm going to. Yeah, I see it now. It's interesting that the question has been brought up, because I see some of the parallels, and yeah, you have to. Okay, a French writer, Saint-Exupéry, he said, "It's how much time you waste on something, which decides for you it means how important it is to you." Everything from folk music around the world to pop music. Like if you check my phone, I'm listening to everything from Shakira to Lady Gaga to Ravel's Only Quartet to I was also listening to some Indonesian Sunda music. So it's very wide. Because my mind is quite big, I think. I have different moods, and I need to hear different things at different times of day. And lately, I've been listening a lot to Red Hot Chili Peppers and Counting Crows. I have 3 projects I'm working on now. One is it's a semi-musical. It's called The Rain Came Down Like Pearls, The Night I Died. And it's set in Singapore, and it's Singapore history about a Japanese spy who came to spy for her country, and she fell in love with a Singaporean. This is before the Second World War. So I'm working on staging that. It's some beautiful songs in it and an interesting story. Then I'm also now just beginning a new work. Originally I had thought it would be an opera based on jade. But it may not be an opera, I'm not sure yet. So we're still starting now, and it will hopefully be in Singapore in 2012 for the Arts Festival. And I'm writing a book. I'm writing my first novel. So I am on chapter 21. I finish on chapter 31, so we see where I can send it to. The book is not like the film. It's not tragic. There is something tragic inside, in part of the history of the book, but it's a magical book. It's a book with a talking horse, a nightingale that used to be a woman, a ghost cat, and things happen. There's a murder, and there's industrial espionage, things like that.